My name is Freddie. I am 21 years old now. However, the event I'm about to recount took place 2 years ago when I was 19. It occurred during a night when my parents were absent, attending an important company meeting. As the company's location was quite distant from our home, I found myself alone for the duration of their absence. One night, while alone at home, I glanced out of the window and was met with a chilling sight. A tall figure, dressed entirely in black, stood outside, holding a kitchen knife. Despite my warning to leave our property, the man remained motionless, his head twitching unnervingly. Feeling a surge of anxiety, I promptly called the police. However, by the time I looked out the window again, the mysterious figure had vanished. In that moment, I heard footsteps approaching from downstairs, realizing with dread that I had forgotten to lock the garden door. Panic set in momentarily, but I managed to gather my wits and armed myself with a bat before cautiously descending the stairs. There I found the man, still as a statue, his gaze fixed on me. Despite my attempts to confront him, fear paralyzed me, rendering me incapable of action. The arrival of sirens signaled the police's intervention, yet the man remained defiant. Despite their attempts to apprehend him, he proved formidable, overpowering them both. Desperation gripped me as I sought refuge in a nearby room, only for the man to break down the door. In that terrifying moment, I came face to face with him, an image forever etched in my memory. Fortunately, the police intervened just in time, injuring the man and prompting his escape through a window. Despite their pursuit, he managed to elude capture, leaving me haunted by the possibility of his return. Since that fateful day, I've made it a habit to ensure all doors and windows are securely locked, determined never to let such a terrifying ordeal repeat itself.
When I was 16 years old, this happened to me. I live in Canada, and this situation occurred during a snowstorm at around 9 p.m. It was extremely dark outside, and I was waiting inside a bus stop shelter after my part-time job to get home. Although I live in a crowded city in Toronto, it was very quiet that night, and there were barely any cars on the road due to hazardous weather conditions. I was waiting all by myself for about 10 minutes, until one man who looked like he was in his 50s entered the shelter. He had a disgusting smirk on his face, which made him a bit creepy looking, and that pretty large guy started making small talk with me. He had a creepy low voice, and he kept asking me what I was doing out in this weather and where I was going. I was feeling anxious, but there was only me and that man, so I told him I was going home after work. He smiled and said to me that the buses are going to be delayed because of the weather and won't be coming in for a really long time. I took out my phone to check the bus times. However, due to the deadly cold weather, my phone died completely. Then he came closer to me. He smelled awfully disgusting. "Hey, you want to come with me for 5 minutes?" he said. I said, "I'm sorry, sir. What do you mean?" He said, "Let's go hang out for a bit. Don't worry, you won't miss your bus. I will bring you back safely. Come on." I wasn't stupid and was aware of pedophiles, so I stepped back and refused. But he kept insisting that I should go with him. I was so afraid that he would do something bad to me. However, luckily, one lady came into the shelter, and the man immediately closed his mouth. After waiting for some time, the bus finally arrived. It was me, the lady, that creepy man, and 2 other people on the bus. He sat all the way at the back of the bus, where he could watch me clearly, and I noticed that he kept staring and staring. I was so nervous, and when it was my stop, I got off alone with a lady. And as I kept walking, I saw that the man got off with us and was right behind me. I freaked out and thought there was no choice at all, so I grabbed the lady's arm and asked her if she could walk me home because a man was following me. She also noticed that the guy was acting strangely, so she whispered that she would take me home. I walked with the lady, and when I looked back, he stared at me for a while and disappeared. When I arrived home, my parents and I thanked that lady repeatedly, and after that, I never saw him again in my life.
I remember this faintly from when I was little, maybe around 7. In our old house, my room had its own floor. It wasn't originally meant to be a bedroom. It was more like an extension of the attic or a closet-like room. The previous owners used it as a playroom for their daughters. My room also had a large closet door that led to the attic. The closet was raised, so you had to climb wooden stairs to reach it. It had a big sliding door and was crammed with toys and childhood trinkets. As a young child, I often felt scared being so isolated from the rest of my family, especially with that huge closet in my room. Then one night, after watching a scary movie with my family, I heard a toy fall in the closet. Startled, I dashed to my parents' room, but they reassured me no one was in my closet. Seeing how frightened I was, they let me sleep in their room that night. The next night, I had almost forgotten about it until I heard it again. The sound of Legos spilling from their container in the closet. Once more, I rushed to my parents' room and told them. My dad, growing impatient, reluctantly agreed to let me sleep in their room again. The next day, my mom and I checked the closet, and sure enough, Legos were scattered on the floor. I thought this was proof someone was in my closet, but my mom assured me it simply fell. That night, my dad locked his door, tired of my fussing. I lay there, silent, my young imagination running wild, waiting for another sound from the closet. It was about an hour before it happened. The sound of the closet door rolling open with force. Moonlight streamed through my window, revealing a figure by the closet door. I let out a piercing scream as terror washed over me, a feeling I still remember vividly today. The figure leaped from the closet and dashed out of my room, then out the front door. My mom rushed up to my room in shock as my dad ran downstairs, but he never caught the man. The police never caught him either.